Sometimes we convince ourselves that we can stand alone, but deep down, we crave the connection we push away. It's easy to say we don't need someone when we're not ready to admit how much we do. You think you don't need me, but every moment apart feels like a silent ache in my heart. It's not about dependence, it's about understanding that some connections are irreplaceable. The hardest thing to do is let go of someone you never really wanted to lose in the first place. Our hearts have a way of knowing what we need, even when our minds refuse to acknowledge it. When you push someone away, you may not realize you're creating a distance that becomes impossible to bridge. You think you're fine, but there's a part of you that's silently missing a connection you once had. It's not weakness to need someone, it's strength to admit it. The truth often lies in the silence between two people, not in the words they speak. There are times when what we think we want is far from what we truly need. When we try to deny the need for someone, we often end up confronting the depth of that need. Pretending we don't need someone is a way to protect ourselves from the fear of vulnerability. Sometimes we push away what we crave most, only to realize how much it was a part of our happiness. The heart knows the truth, even when the mind is too stubborn to accept it. Not needing anyone sounds empowering, but the truth is we were never meant to be alone. There's an unspoken bond between two souls that words can't describe, and sometimes we ignore it. The quietest moments are often the loudest reminders of how much we need someone. Even when you think you don't need me, there's a part of you that will always wonder what if. Letting go isn't always about saying goodbye. Sometimes it's realizing you're not as independent as you thought. We spend so much time trying to be strong, we forget the strength it takes to rely on someone else. You think you don't need me, but there's a space in your life only I can fill. The moments we think we don't need someone are often the ones when they matter most. True strength comes not from standing alone, but from knowing when to stand together. Sometimes not needing someone is simply the fear of allowing yourself to need them. We say we don't need anyone, but deep inside, we know we weren't meant to walk this world alone. When we deny our need for connection, we deny the very thing that makes us human. Not needing anyone is a form of self-protection, but at times, that protection only keeps us distant. You might think you can walk away, but the truth is, some paths are meant to be shared. It's not about being strong enough to stand alone, but being wise enough to know when you don't have to. I may not be essential to your survival, but I am to your peace of mind. Sometimes the heart knows something The mind refuses to understand, and it leaves us wondering. You can deny your need for me, but the emptiness will always remind you. It's not a matter of need, it's a matter of belonging. In the quiet, we realize how much we miss the presence of those who mattered most. We like to think we're invincible, but sometimes it's the presence of others that gives us strength. The truth about needing someone is that it's not about weakness. It's about choosing connection over isolation. It's easy to say you don't need anyone, but it's harder to ignore the gap left behind when they're gone. You can build a life without me, but it'll never feel as full as it did when I was there. Needing someone doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. Sometimes we need to stop pretending that we don't need people to walk through life with us. We mistake independence for strength, forgetting that real strength lies in knowing when to need someone. It's easy to think you don't need me until you realize how much you miss my presence in your life. The moment you realize that you need someone is often the moment when everything starts to make sense. When you think you don't need me, remember that some bonds can never be broken, even by distance. The beauty of life lies not in standing alone, but in sharing moments with those who truly matter. You may think you don't need me, but I'm the one who makes your world brighter. The hardest part is realizing that while you think you don't need me, your heart still finds comfort in my presence. Sometimes the truth is simple. You can live without me, but life is better with me in it. We often deny what we truly need because we're afraid of what that admission might mean. When you try to convince yourself you don't need someone, you're just building a wall against your own heart. You can walk away, but a part of you will always wonder about the connection you once had. You think you don't need me, but I'm the missing piece you didn't know was essential to your happiness. When we stop needing others, we stop experiencing the fullness of life's most beautiful moments. There's strength in knowing when you're vulnerable, and wisdom in admitting that sometimes you need someone. Not needing someone is one thing, not wanting them is another, and sometimes the two are hard to tell apart. We tell ourselves we don't need others, but in our quietest moments, we realize how much we crave connection. You may think you don't need me, but your heart remembers the moments we shared. There's a certain magic that happens when we realize we don't have to do it all alone. The moment you think you don't need me is often the moment when you realize you never wanted to be without me. Even when you think you don't need me, there's a part of you that feels incomplete without me. You may think you're better off without me, but the truth is your heart will always yearn for what it once had. Sometimes we convince ourselves that we don't need someone, only to realize later that their absence changes everything. The hardest part about needing someone is admitting that you can't do it all on your own. It's not that you can't survive without me, but that your life feels more whole when I'm there. We try to tell ourselves that we don't need anyone, but in reality, the most beautiful moments are shared together. You think you don't need me, but in the quiet moments, you'll find my absence speaks louder than anything else. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't need someone. It means you were brave enough to face the uncertainty without them. We may not always know how much we need someone until the moment comes when we can't imagine life without them. It's easy to say you don't need anyone when you're afraid to face the vulnerability of truly needing someone. You can tell yourself that you're fine alone, but deep down, you know a part of you will always miss them. There's strength in recognizing that you don't have to carry everything on your own. We often overlook the depth of our connections until they start to fade into memories. Sometimes, the distance between us is what makes us realize how much we actually need each other. You may walk away thinking you're better off, but the truth is your heart knows what it's missing. The truth is we never really know how much we need someone until the moment they're no longer around. You can convince yourself that you don't need anyone, but your heart will always call out for connection. Admitting you need someone is not a weakness, it's a testament to the strength of your bond. We build walls to protect ourselves, but sometimes those walls keep out the very connection we need most. There's no shame in needing someone. It's a recognition that the journey is better when shared. You think you're independent, but the truth is, we all need someone to lean on from time to time. Sometimes we push people away because we're afraid of what admitting our need for them might mean. You can live without me, but your soul knows that life is richer with me in it. When you think you don't need me, remember that some connections are woven into the fabric of your soul. The heart doesn't lie. Even when you try to ignore it, it always knows what you need. We can be strong without others, but our strength often grows when we share it with those who matter. You may think you're fine without me, but the truth is, there's a space inside you that only I can fill. We can try to walk away, but the memories of the ones we need will always follow us. The silence between us speaks louder than words. It's a reminder of how much we once needed each other. You can tell yourself you're fine on your own, but sometimes it's the support of others that gives us our true strength. Sometimes we don't realize how much we need someone until we look back at the empty space they've left. Even if we think we can handle everything by ourselves, the truth is, Life is easier when shared with others. It's not about needing someone to survive. It's about choosing them to thrive. You think you don't need me, but every time you're quiet, you feel the echo of my absence. You can say you don't need me, but the emptiness you feel speaks volumes. We spend so much time trying to be self-sufficient that we forget the beauty of mutual support. When we deny the need for others, we deny the very thing that makes us feel whole. The hardest moments are often the ones that teach us how much we truly need those around us. You may think you don't need me, but deep inside, you know the space between us is filled with something unspoken. It's not about survival. It's about the joy of sharing life with those who matter. When we think we don't need someone, it's often a defense mechanism to protect ourselves from the fear of being vulnerable.